The administrative investigation concluded the afternoon of 11/7, and allegations of policy violations against these two deputies were sustained. As a result of these findings, Sergeant Harrison will be demoted immediately, suspended without pay for 7 days, and will not be eligible for any favorable action for 2 years. Deputy Godey will be suspended without pay for 2 days. Both deputies will be required to undergo remedial training pertaining to civil rights.
Thank you for visiting A Conservative Hispanic Perspective, where we have an update from the good sheriff from Columbia County, Florida, where you will see his response and him taking ownership of the actions of his deputies is just absolutely pathetic. Let's take a look at this. So let's take a quick trip down memory lane to see what these two deputies did to get them in trouble.
What's the problem? You a tyrant?
Yeah, I am actually. What's your name and date of birth?
Okay, so we have one deputy that's a self-admitted tyrant. Okay, let's see what the other one has to say for himself.
Was that hard?
It's gonna be. I want your name and your badge number.
I put him in jail for resisting.
Okay.
Yeah, this deputy puts people in jail because he gets pissed off. And this is one of the things that I created this channel for, because too many people on the left automatically says cops and those in law enforcement can't do no good. They're just awful people, and we should just get rid of the police, which is absolutely insane. And people on the right will say, well, cops can do no wrong and they probably deserve what they're getting. And this is a perfect case where no, this person did not deserve what he got in the treatment that he received from the police. And hopefully he'll get a nice big settlement out of this. The biggest problem that I have with this and these kind of police interactions is that it really doesn't matter the color of the person more than if you are in a vulnerable group, you're poor, indigent, homeless, in any kind of easy target where you could be easily abused by the system. The cops will take advantage of you. Many of them will. Many of them are good, but these are the types that don't have any business being police. Think about how many people end up going to jail because they can't afford bail or charged for a crime they never committed by a cop they simply pissed off. Some of them will even plead to a crime they didn't commit because they don't have the means to fight this. But think about it. If you're in a disadvantaged situation where you're, barely getting by, can you take a couple of days off of work to go defend yourself in court? Probably not. This cop's getting overtime to show up in court while you're having to decide whether or not you're going to feed your family or take a plea for a crime you didn't really commit. It happens all the time. And these are the things that got to change. And these are the things that have to change, because when officers abuse their privilege to serve the public, they should lose their qualified immunity and they should be fired upon successful investigation that they have breached the trust of the public.
Good afternoon, Sheriff Mark Hunter. I'm here today to update you and provide some information that will hopefully answer questions many of you have regarding this situation. On October 31st, shortly after 8 a.m., two of our deputies encountered Mr. James Hodges walking near the intersection of Marion Avenue and East Duval Street. The interaction resulted in the arrest of Mr. Hodges. Body cam footage that was provided to Mr. Hodges of this incident has recently been circulated across many outlets and has resulted in our office receiving a number of calls from concerned citizens. I want to begin with a timeline of the initial events. Mr. Hodges was arrested on October the 31st at 8 a.m. The arresting deputy was Jamie Godey and her supervisor, Sergeant Randy Harrison. On November the 3rd, Mr. Hodges requested body cam footage of the incident. He was provided the footage the same day. During the review process, prior to it being released, a likely policy violation was discovered.
Okay, so what I'm hearing here is that these type of interactions are so commonplace that it didn't occur to either of these deputies, and remember that one of them is a supervisor, to take a step back and go, maybe I should report this up the chain of command to let them know that, optically this just looks really bad for the department and we should get ahead of this. No, this is just, hey, this is just par for the course. This is what we do every day to people that we encounter every day. And it is just unacceptable.
Since the incident involved a patrol sergeant, the patrol lieutenant and captain were made aware of the incident. The patrol lieutenant and captain were directed to investigate the incident further and began that day, November the 3rd. Mr. Hodges had not yet filed a formal complaint when the patrol commanders were instructed to investigate this matter. Arrangements were made that day for Mr. Hodges to complete a sworn statement at a later date upon his availability. The administrative investigation concluded the afternoon of 11/7, and allegations of policy violations against these two deputies were sustained. As a result of these findings, Sergeant Harrison will be demoted immediately, suspended without pay for 7 days, and will not be eligible for any favorable action for 2 years. Deputy Godey will be suspended without pay for 2 days. Both deputies will be required to undergo remedial training pertaining to civil rights.
So after completely and thoroughly investigating ourselves, what we're going to do is give both these deputies a slap on the wrist. And let's move on.
As sheriff, I take full responsibility for this event and want to extend my sincere apologies to Mr. Hodges for the actions of my deputies. I do not feel these deputies' actions were guided by ill intent, but rather by frustration and failure to rely on their training. Nevertheless, this conduct is unacceptable. We will continue to work hard and train to ensure these incidents do not reoccur.
If the sheriff is serious about having these type of incidences never occurring again, the best way to do that is to declare a zero tolerance policy and fire these deputies immediately. Showing and proving that you have higher standards and accountability for your department is the only way to build the public trust.
I do want you to know that I'm deeply saddened of the negative impact that this has on our agency and this situation has caused to us. I want to reassure you that as your sheriff, we do make mistakes, but we take corrective action to fix them. This is how we get better.
I believe the best way to ensure that this never happens again is to ensure a zero tolerance policy, fire these deputies, and have constant and remedial training on civil rights on a regular basis throughout your department. If this isn't done, what's going to end up happening is within a few weeks and a few months, when all the news blows over, it's going to be right back to business as usual.
I want to applaud Mr. Hodges for actually reporting that and requesting the video. That's how we learn. I can promise you that, we're going to work hard to try to get 100%, but we'll never be 100%. No one is.
Yes, no one's going to be 100%. But what I'm hearing is that you're not performing any auditing of police interactions and body cam footage to see if your deputies are performing to the level of their training with the public. I'm not hearing that you're having a no tolerance policy being implemented. I don't hear people getting fired and being held accountable for their actions. Getting a slap on the wrist is not going to change anything. So yes, I can guarantee you will never be 100%.
I have no doubt that the remaining employees up here at this sheriff's office, they work their hearts out and want to do you a good job and want to have your trust and respect, as I do. And as your sheriff, I'm going to keep on pushing and trying to make us better every day. And I want you to know we do not take your trust and your respect for granted. We earn it every day. And thank you.
Well, this was a complete display of weak leadership. Keep in mind that this whole situation was completely avoidable. What we can do as citizens is to make sure that we know who we're voting for. Remember, each sheriff in every county in America is an elected position. So learn about who they are, how they feel about law enforcement, accountability, and police responsibilities. Thank you for visiting A Conservative Hispanic Perspective. Please like and subscribe and share this video.